Adolf Hitler, when he was, this is at World War II, of course, when the Mufti, there is a position, Mufti of Palestine, or Palestine, went and met him. This Mufti came to him and explained to him, saying that, Fahra, Your Excellency, whatever, the Jews who are coming from Europe are persecuting us, terrorizing us, killing us, raping our rights. They are doing this since the 20s of what's considered the 20th century, and before even, with the support of the British Empire. Fahra, we consider you maybe a chance for us, for our freedom from these occupiers who are killing us and terrorizing us, those foreigners and these strangers. So he explained to the Fahra, explained a lot of things, and he said, your enemy, unfortunately, are far worse than any sort of enemy for us. If the Mufti himself, if he looked at Adolf Hitler, he will look at a so-called Christian movement and this cross of the Nazis. But at the end, they are less harming when you go and study what happened by the coalition, colonizing Middle East, by the French, by the British. So he went to meet the Fahra, like, just to ask any support, showing that it is better for the Muslim to choose you, so that in case if you won, our country would be liberated. Because even before World War II, even before 1939, it is a matter of decade, the British Empire, the French Empire, persecuting the people of Middle East, the fall of the Ottoman Khilafah, what's happening in the Holy Land by those intruders, these foreigners who start killing the Palestinians, kicking them, terrorizing them. Look at the groups, the terrorist groups among the so-called Israelis who call themselves Jews, the Goham, who attacked and came by the supervision of the Western colonizing power. I'm not here explaining that they are all behind it. I mean, if you go and look at the Nazis and look at the so-called Zionists, and you understand that there is some Bush Jr., his grandfather. It is at the end, it's the Western nation that's committing this trouble to the people of the Holy Land, the natives, the native Palestinian, the Muslims, Israelite or not, they accepted Islam. They understand why Muhammad is a final messenger, and they are practicing the faith that God wants them to practice in this era. They are more close to Judea. They are there, but there is a change, of course, because Yahudian practices shouldn't take place after the Messiah, and I have explained this. They are the true Messihian. Messihi means Christian. Christ, Christian, Messiah, Messihi. There is them. So, I don't want to go to other details. So he explained to the Fahra. He explained to him that your enemy is our enemy, Fahra, and we hope that you would win and be successful, because you winning, even if they all committed crimes, unbelievable crimes. So the Mufti of Palestine is first. Someone is kicking him from his house, and he understands. Look at the 30s and the 20s. Look at the crimes of the so-called Israelis, those European Goham. Unbelievable, terrorizing the Palestinian, the innocent, nice Palestinian. It was a terrible era. The failure of the Ottoman Empire, which was not, at the end, not never. You shouldn't say it's an Islamic Khilafah. It's become racist, nationalist. The Turks at the end. Shut up. Meow. Meow. He's always saying hi to me. in this location. Next time I'll bring my gun. Shut up. Yeah. Very small, very, very small. Like you if you're against me. So, meanwhile that era, he talked to Adolf Hitler about Islam. And he mentioned some verses of Quran. And he even said, our Khilafah is finished. And he explained to him that, and he gave him example. He gave Adolf Hitler an example. He talked to him about this. And he said, if you allow me, Fahra, I would like to explain to you that you yourself could be establisher of a new Khilafah yourself, regardless of the crimes that committed in the West. They all killed each other. If you accept Islam, if you accept the rules, the Sharia, Islam, even if you are gonna work it based on your character as European, you talk to him about this. Respecting your history and your heritage and your white nation or Aryan nation, the race, you would be the supreme leader of most of the Islamic world, if you can imagine with me, Fahra. He said this to him. He mentions the verses of the Surah, the moon, Al-Qamar. And he explained that God is the creator of the moon, the sun, things like this. Because there is a lot of criticism against Islam that he was receiving. And Adolf Hitler liked it to a certain level. But all those who were surrounding Adolf Hitler, what is my resource? You might say, what is your resource? My resource is a spit in your face. This is my resource. Spit in your face. All those who are surrounding Adolf Hitler, the leader, the cabinet, rejected this. And they showed also signs of disrespecting the Mufti. Not Adolf Hitler himself, no. He himself was very interested, regardless how the war is working. Very interested in the subject, in the topic itself, that this gentleman is explaining to him as a Mufti of Palestine. Understand me? You go. No, wait. Anyway, I got a guy to show you that. Yeah. So did you understand the point I'm trying to say? This is connecting to a certain level to the soul of Adolf Hitler, though he's not a Muslim. And his final moment before he died, though he is not a believer, this Mufti said to him, Allah shall grant you victory. Allah shall if you just change your, he didn't say it directly. Remember, he's a Fahra. The belief itself. Because Adolf Hitler was considered like a messiah. Literally, no belief whatsoever. This is the result of the so-called Christian cross. This is what it will always renew darkly itself, darkly. By the devil. This is an invention of the devil. So, like many other dark groups, I'm not talking here about the so-called Christian. We can go to the so-called Hindus, so-called Buddhists, even so-called Shiite. Other groups which have nothing, did have something to do, like the groups have nothing to do with the faith that is manipulated. Communism. But now I'm just focusing on Adolf Hitler. He was honestly interested. But all those who are again interested, if those are, he talked to them. And he said, I apologize to you for things like this. But you just need to reject all what he said. We will consider these as people who are they are interested to see us a winner and victorious. And we shall be victorious. Things like this. An argument. But the man kept on. He wants more information about Islam. He wants things like this. No, they rejected. The cabinet rejected. I mean, if you now you look at this Palestinian Mufti, he was in a very terrible situation. In a very terrible situation. The Mufti. Crying for his nation. He was not against the Uthmani Khilafah, but the Uthmani Khilafah just failed at the end. People resisted and rejected the nationalist movement inside Turkey that created Ataturk and what's happened after Ataturk. So the Palestinian was left alone. No chance to reorganize themselves. Sykes-Picot took place. Problems. And they couldn't. They were persecuted. So you have no right, like the Prime Minister of the so-called Israeli Gohemic state, Netanyahu, when he said the Mufti, Adolf Hitler didn't want to put the Jews in gas chambers. But the Mufti convinced him, this is rubbish. This is rubbish. The Mufti was a very weak man. He talked to Adolf Hitler. He tried. No. A Muslim leader will never accept something like this. What you're doing to the people in Gaza, and what you're doing to the people in the West Bank, in our Holy Land. No, you will not. This is lies, rubbish. You are a liar. هذا مش ماني قادر انزل قدام. هذا من طلعوا لي فجأة. راح يلا السلام. This Gohem Netanyahu should be ashamed at himself. This Gohem, his own house, the house he's living in, is stolen. They are criminal and they are bad European people, regardless of their faith. And the whole world is watching. And so many accomplices and taking advantage and giving support to them. That's it, thank you. So yes, he tried this Mufti believed, of course he needs to make tuqya in front of the fihr of the Nazi movement, racist, fascist mentality. So he tried to converse him in a very, he knows and he believed that this, he believed and he knows that Adolf Hitler is a kafir, and his way and method is an infidel, cursed ways. He knows it, but he can't say this. So he's found a man welcoming him as an Islamic leader, and immediately, very smart, intelligent way that we in the Muslim world congratulate, and we're happy with this success that your glory, army of glory is doing. And I would like to explain to you that we have a big problem with you, the Western colonizing power which you're fighting against. Because they committed a lot of crimes against the Muslim nation, and especially when we talk about the Holy Land, what they are doing to my people, persecuting us, killing us, raping our rights. And Adolf Hitler knew. So he found himself thrilled and happy dealing with a Mufti who's trying to make him, to show him that he's in the same team for one goal: kick the racist occupiers who are worse than the Nazis, who are a resort to the so-called Zionists from the Holy Land. They are staying there, and they brought others. They're all liars. That's it.